Hey, everyone. Welcome to the latest podcast episode. This is your host, Terry Knight, and this is an episode you don't want to miss. I got the one and only author here, Arthur. He's a real estate developer, and let me tell you, I've been seeing his stuff on social media, and I'm blown away. I'm like, damn, this guy is building real estate from scratch and explaining how you don't have to be on site to build it, and showing how anyone can do it, like everything in between. And he comes from flipping cars. Like his background's really
For
cool,
sure.
guys. So I think he can drop you guys a lot of nuggets, help people do the same thing. And I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Hey guys, Arthur the developer. As Terry mentioned, I guess I'm on a lot of people's For You page, but my background was I came from the auto industry. I have done over 250 homes to date without me
Oh,
being a GC, just being that middleman, coordinating the builder, finding the deals. And then I have developed over 1,000 lots for residential for national builders, which was really cool. That's a little bit of my story and my experience before I ended up starting my own company.
well, in a nutshell, I was just gonna say, Arthur, tell the people who you are. That's like the perfect summary, man. But just to deep dive in, because your story's so unique in my eyes. You mentioned, well, you didn't start in real estate. You started flipping cars. So, for instance, like, can you go from there as far as what your first journey was like before you pivoted into real estate and how that was looking?
Yeah, absolutely. So 15 years old, I believed so my dad's more entrepreneurial. He's in the auto industry, but he owns a junkyard. So he
Mm,
just buys and sells damaged cars. And I never really believed that I should work hourly. I always thought that I could earn by if I work faster, if I work harder. So I would pressure wash driveways, I would wash dishes for wedding events and save up some cash. I saved up enough, and then I would save up my birthday money, and any event, anytime I got some money, I would save it and put it in piggy bank. I got about $1,000. And at 15 years old, I was going to be 16. I already had my permit. So here in Washington, I don't know how other states work, but at 15 and a half, you can start driving as long as you have somebody with you that has their driver's license. And so I picked up my first car from the auto auction, and it was a Volkswagen Golf. It was red and it had chrome wheels. And so it's a
mm.
little fender bender, but it still drove. Paid $1,000 for that thing at 15 years old. And before I could even start driving, I was like, well, let me just clean it up and throw it on Craigslist because Facebook Marketplace didn't exist at that time. This was about 12 years ago. So Facebook Marketplace was not really the place to sell. It was Craigslist. And it was before Craigslist would charge you that $5 a listing. It was free. So I threw it up on Craigslist. I got an offer of 2,100 and I ended up doubling. So $1,100 profit on $1,000. And to me, that was my aha moment of I can make money by just doing the right thing or the smart thing. And so I started fixing and flipping cars. So that's my journey of fixing and flipping. And then from there, I would just, as a 16-year-old, I'm going to high school. I'd buy one car here, flip it, make 3,000. It was the coolest thing ever. And so I started buying these cars that I like. And I was more into the Subarus in the Northwest. That's kind of the thing. You got all the seasons, mostly rain, some sun, and some
Mm.
snow. But you have the mountains, hour and a half away. And so I would buy and sell these different Subarus, put wheels on them. And I really enjoyed that high school season. But when high school ends, you got to start taking life a little bit more serious. And so then I started really fixing and flipping these cars and doing like 2, 3, 4 cars a month. And so that's where I really was getting heavy into the fix and flip game of cars, not real estate.
That's so cool, man. Jesus Christ. I mean, you flipped cars at 16. I think when I was 16, I was just hanging out with friends and, acting a fool, I would say. But this man was just sitting there making money. Like, that's how you do it, guys. Like, start young. He's a prime example of that, man. And
Appreciate it.
and in one given year, man, how much did you make flipping cars? Like, I'm curious. Like, if you were going really like
So
hardcore.
yeah, I remember I would make around 1 to 2K a car. Sometimes I'd make three because what I would end up doing is I'd pick these up from the auto auctions. That means it got in a wreck, and it's not. I don't buy the cars that were extremely damaged. I would buy the ones that were light fender benders. So typically, I would
Mm,
replace the bumpers. Maybe the wheels got messed up. I would buy wheels, change the wheels, and just do minimal work. But I never actually did any of the physical work myself. I would send it to a body shop. I'd pay the body shop to fix the suspension. I would pay the other body shop to paint the car, make it look clean, and then I would sell them. So I would get to the point where I would have around 3 to 4 cars selling a month, and 1 to 2K profit. You could do the math. That's around five to
hmm
seven thousand dollars a month. And I remember one month where I hit $8,000, and it was like the craziest because I was already on spreadsheets. I'm like, I can't keep track of all these cars. I got to throw it on this Excel spreadsheet. And so I started learning spreadsheets from these
Mm,
cars. I would put, how much did I buy the car for? How much did the parts cost? How much did the labor cost? If I sold it for this much, what's my profit margin? So I had to get basic Excel formulas down. And so I remember doing that 8,000 in 1 month, and it was like the craziest thing for me because I never thought it would be possible. And especially at 18 years old, when you just leave high school to do that, to make that kind of money seemed unreal. So I ended up getting to the point before I transitioned into real estate. I was doing around 30 30 to 40 cars sold in a year.
damn. Yeah, I mean, a lot better than I was when I was 18. I was working minimum wage at a retail store. So very very cool concept, man. And I'm glad you were able to kind of put that together. And I mean, you probably could have scaled that thing if you would have kept at it too. What made you pivot and go into real estate?
So I give my dad a lot of credit. He would always say, the best industry is real estate. The second best industry is the logistics and the trucking space.
Hmm.
And then the third would be the auto industry. And the reason for it is he's like, I just don't know that many people that are set or well off in the auto industry. I know some in the trucking space, and I know several in the real estate space. And
Hmm.
so my dad, he came here from Ukraine 30 something years ago. I'm 28 years old. So 3 years in, I was born here in America. And his thing was always, leaving the communist country and really working hard and earning your dollar. But as he's doing this for the last 25, 30 years, he realized that you could just leverage and be smarter. And the same amount of effort in one industry could earn you a lot more money than another industry. So, for example, my brother was in the t-shirt space. It was, if I sold one t-shirt or I sold one car, you would assume I would make more money selling one car. And so if you
Hmm.
sold one house versus selling one car, you should make significantly more. And so that brought me to my journey of building homes, where I ended up selling all of my cars, taking that entire down payment and putting it all into one house. And the down payment was like $50,000, something like that.
Oh
And I
wow.
leveraged the bank. So you can leverage a bank and put 10% down. A lot of people say, oh, you can't do that. So on a $500,000 home, you only need $50,000. So I
Hmm.
sold all my cars, built that first house, made about 50,000 and doubled my money. And it took about 8 months. So for me to think, man, from 18 years old till 23, 5 years of my life, I barely had enough to save up this 50,000 because you have life expenses, right? You're just trying to put aside $2,000. And then building one house in 7 to 9 months, I doubled that money. That to me was my aha moment. I could do something with this.
That's pretty cool, man. 8 months, 50K, selling all
Yeah.
your cars. I think the whole concept with you being so successful, man, and all these other entrepreneurs that are six, seven, eight figures, nine figures, you guys just like to figure out things and just go for it. Like you're not overthinking it, right? You're like, let me
Right.
just sell all my cars and let me just do this. My dad said real estate, screw it. Let me just get a house and I'll figure it out. Um, you said it took 8 months, right? We're talking you building. We're talking renovations. We're talking like what, kitchen, flooring,
Well, new
everything.
construction. So I picked up a lot from a wholesaler. He said, "Oh, you
Oh.
can build this. You're going to make 100 grand." Well, I didn't. I kind of ran my numbers ish, and this is where I learned my lessons. But 100 grand, I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm going to make 100 grand." So I ran the numbers. I hired the builder. I put it all together. I built it, sold it, made that 40 to 50. I made half the profit projected. So if you
Mm,
get a deal from a wholesaler, you have to make sure you run your own numbers. But I ended up doing new construction. So I found the lot,
mm,
got the financing locked in for the lot plus the build combined, and it had permits ready. So I bought it with permits from that wholesaler, which is nice. So for your
damn.
first build, if you can get a build with permits ready, it's a little bit easier and you're saving yourself that permitting time. But keep in mind, you're paying a margin for that, right? So like when you're
Mm,
buying permit ready, you're paying a premium versus you doing it yourself. But you said, just something you mentioned where all these guys, they kind of just I sold all my cars and I did it. It
mm,
sounds like that's what I did. But going back, it took me 3 years to pull the trigger. So
mm.
3 years, I'm like, I want to get into the game. I want to get into the game. I'm talking to fix and flippers. I'm talking to other wholesalers. I'm going to these free meetups. I'm collecting everybody's business cards. I'm talking to loan officers. For 3 years, I'm talking to people, I'm not pulling the trigger. But the key is this, though. In between those 3 years, what am I doing? Buying a car, selling it, buying a car, selling it, buying a car, selling it. So I think it's healthy and it's okay to have some fear of
Mm.
something new. But the key is make sure you're still taking action and make sure you're still saving up, or whatever you're doing that one thing while you're trying to get into the next industry. I think that's really important. And two, if I had somebody that was already doing it, I wish I could just follow them. I didn't, and nobody was willing to help me out. So like I talked to Flipper. He said, no, I don't want to create my own competition. I talked to another wholesaler. They said, why would I teach you to do what I do? That makes no sense. So it's
Wow.
really interesting. There's not a lot of people that are willing to teach. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's, if I could, I would be able to find somebody that is doing it, then I can learn. And so the builder that ended up building the project was my brother. He just built his first house. He helped me go over that ledge, right? So he takes the risk. I found a lot, and he's like, I'm going to do it, because I was like, I can't do it. I'm too scared. I'm not doing it. So he builds. 6 months later, I see what he does with my own eyes. We actually picked up the trash. We cleaned out the site together. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, all right, I got a lot. You're going to build this for me. So you see, for me, I got to see somebody do it for me to take that action. And so I think that that's okay. And that's absolutely healthy, even for an entrepreneur. Like, I was doing 30, 40, 50 cars. It's not that easy to just write a check and sell everything and build one house. I need proof of concept, you know?
Yeah, yeah, totally. I agree. I think what's cool too is your brother was helping you. He was building out stuff. Um, is he a developer or is he
So
a
he's a licensed contractor. That was his first home he ever built. He
oh
has a really
wow.
cool story as well, where he worked for he got into 250,000 of debt, was printing T-shirts as a business owner. That's how he got in debt. Then he went and worked a full-time job with a national builder because he was in debt. And this law came up that I found, and I said, I don't want to do it. I'm too scared to take the risk. He's like, I'll do
Mm-hmm.
it. So he built his first house without ever building a house. And that's where things took off. I'm the developer, so I have the talent of finding the land. He has
Mm-hmm.
the talent of building. And then we scaled out nationwide, where we can build in Florida, we can build in North Carolina. We just built a rental out in North Carolina. We can build in California. We build in Oregon, Washington. So learning where you don't have to be a GC, really, you just need to understand the entire 7-step process of what that looks like to build from start to finish, which starts with finding the lot and putting it under contract. And so that's kind of what we learned over the last 5 to 7 years in the homes that we built.
5 to 7 years is a long time anyway. You guys are experts. Like, you can do it without even thinking at this point.
Right.
Even in year two, like, because you've done so much. I got more questions, like hands down. So you got made 50K profit. Your brother was a contractor. You're the developer. You're like, screw it, we're gonna do this. I'm scared. We got it done. Made 50K. Damn, that's a lot of money up front. What was your next thing? Like, what was your next approach?
So he built his house. He gets fired for
Mm.
building a house, conflict of interest.
Oh wow.
I hired the builder, assembled everything. I was actually working as a project manager for a company at that time. I was only a year into that job because I couldn't get myself into the real estate game. And so I decided I'm going to go get a full-time job, flip cars on the side. And so then I
Mm.
built this house while working a job where I was project managing real estate development. So it was commercial and multifamily. So a lot of people say, where'd you learn multifamily? Well, I worked for this developer who was building 200-300 units at a time. So I was
Mm.
managing the actual projects, and he decided to scale. He got a couple of other investors that said, hey, I have a few projects. Can you build them for me? So as a general contractor, they pay him 20 to 40,000 a deal. You got 3 of them. That's enough to live for 1 to 2 years. So he started
Mm.
scaling his GC side of things. I was finding a few more deals. I ended up building 6 more houses on the side by hiring a builder, putting the plans together. So I learned from that wholesaler, well, you made 30 grand on me. I didn't make 100, I made 50. I could just make 80K on a deal if I find it myself. And so
Mm.
after hours, I'm doing all this. I'm sending letters, I'm sending text messages, I'm cold calling and picking up these lots. I ended up picking up 6 more and hiring the builder and building those out. And that's where I really had that aha moment of, okay, if I can make more money on this than I did my full-time job with the salary, I should probably go.
Yeah, definitely, hands down, pull that trigger. Man, that's so cool. Because my next question was going to be like, and you can give as much gold nuggets as you want, but how do you find these deals? I mean, you can go on like Crexy and I don't know these websites, look for lots, but is there anything more to it? Like, do you have a certain criteria for you to figure out or formula that helps you kind of dictate if it's yes or
Yeah.
no, or if it's going to be okay or not?
So I can say finding the lot is not the most important piece. It's knowing the numbers. Because
Mm,
you can go to Redfin right now and put vacant land in Miami, Florida, or in Dallas, Texas, or Chicago. There'll probably be over 1,000 listings.
mm-hmm.
But it's not about the listings. It's there. That's like car shopping. There's 1,000 cars for sale on Facebook. Are any of them a good deal? Right? How do you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So the big thing is I always say step two, because step one is finding a lot. Step two is underwriting or making sure the numbers pencil. You have to understand the numbers more than anything, because I can tell you how to find a lot. You're going to start getting leads, but you're not going to know what's a good deal. So,
Mm-hmm.
very simple ways that I find land sometimes is on the MLS. I said it's like car shopping, but I've picked up some deals where we've made 2, 3, 500,000 on a build by picking it up on the market, on the MLS.
Damn.
But I had to look at 200 deals to pick up one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, off market, meaning directly with a seller, there's ways of, for example, I sent a text message to a lady with 2.5 acres and set up a meeting with her, met with her, because developer wise, I like to go face to face because
Mm-hmm.
you're talking $1 million deals. So I met with her face to face. We sat at her dining table for about 30 minutes and I said, hey, are you ready to move forward with the purchase and sale? But I said, are you ready to move forward with the purchase and sale? It sounds like your daughter lives in this and this state. You want to move out there. I would love to help you guys and move in the next 1 to 2 years while we're developing and building this out. So she said, yeah, let's sign it. We ended up signing it. Virtually, it's a different marketing method. You're casting a really wide net and just finding anybody motivated. And whichever one is motivated, that's the one you're going to wholesale instead of build. So just two different strategies, but with finding development deals, it's been really efficient for me is sending letters.
Mm-hmm.
There's been very specific letters, because when somebody if you send a text message, hey, I want to buy your property. They're like, it's annoying. You go, hey, Sally, I saw your 2 acre parcel off of 117th. I'm really interested. I'm a local developer. We've been around for the last 15 years. Would you like to meet? They're going to respond much higher. There's a much higher response rate to you than the guy that says, hey, I'm interested in buying your property. They're like, you didn't say my name. You didn't say which property. You didn't give any details. So if
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find a $1 million deal, I'm going to be very specific. If I'm doing a generic wholesale operation like we have, our wholesale company did about 1.1 million in the last 18 months. It's
Oh
very
wow.
generic. We have like 30,000 properties and we have our callers making $200 a day, just a different business model.
Mm. I like it, man. I like it. That's how I think when you're trying to like get leads and
Yeah.
be very personalized. So I totally get that. Wow. And you mentioned you met with this lady. I like the face-on-face approach. I think that's key for any type of negotiating or getting contracts signed. Are all your deals based off like loans you get from the bank, or do you have investors? Like, how does that side look?
So there's two different loan products. Or not two different loan products. There's a deal structure. I like to use other people's money. It's a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more fun because you just use your skill set and you're making money. It's
Yeah.
cool. You have the equity side, which is the down payment. So typically, what I'll do is with my partner, I will have them bring the down payment and we'll split the profit, however, we end up sharing the profit. Then you have the debt side, which is the construction loan. And so
Mm-hmm.
you have the equity come in, the down payment, it's somebody maybe you know personally or don't. Then you have this larger corporation that brings in the down payment. Typically, you call it a hard money loan. And that's how I structure the deals. A lot of times I like to buy my land for cash because it's less risk. So if you buy the land for cash and it takes you one day to get permits, like my student in St. John's, Indiana, he walks in, gets a permit, walks out for a 3,500 square foot house. For me, it takes me 6 months. So I buy the land cash. I don't have any risk. I'm just going through the paperwork, getting permits done. As soon as I have the paperwork approved to build a home, then I go get the construction loan and we start that process. So I'm not accruing interest over the 6 months. I'm just getting the
Mm-hmm.
permits approved.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. That's pretty cool. You say you had a student in St. John's that got a permit the same day?
Yeah. So we have our education and mentorship side of things, but I have one student, Ricky. He was a subcontractor, had a landscape company, and then shifted to building. So he's in the build space just about 3 months. He's already in framing on his 3,500 square foot home. So he's framing up the second floor right now. And because he's so excited and he's seeing this process, he's not a builder. He's not an agent. He was just a subcontractor. We put the team together. The builder is building the site. He got that lot. And just from that experience, he has a partner. He went and picked up 3 more lots. And they're going to get ready to build 3 more homes just because they've tasted it. And I don't want to say how it's not easy, but how simple it is, because there's a difference in the 2 words, easy or simple. It's very simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very simple. And so he understands the concept and is super excited. He's like, man, I want to go do some deals in Florida. I want to do some deals in Texas. So his eyes are opening up. And to me, that's the most fulfilling part of coaching people, is when their eyes open up. Right. So to me, that's exciting. And I had a student in California who said, well, I was going to hire this builder. I was going to pay him 60 grand. I'm going to go get my license instead. So the coaching side of things has inspired him to go be like Ruben, my brother, who has a GC license. He's like, I'm going to build for myself and other people. So that to me is so cool. I love that we can create and provide an entry into the space.
Yeah, man, that's pretty cool. Kudos to your student there, Ricky, and the other one. What do you think is better, I guess, when you're starting out, whether it's with you guys or on your own or whatever the case may be? When you're buying these lots and you want to build something, do you think it's single family homes or commercial? Like, what's the best approach?
I would say residential. You want to start with either a single family home, a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex. Those are
Mm-hmm.
all considered residential.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it doesn't really matter if it's a single family or a fourplex or anything in between. As I always say, numbers, numbers, numbers. That's everything. So like right now, we just got under contract 2 lots. They're going to be about $1.3 million homes. The numbers make sense there, and it's a great area. And there's 3 homes that each sold for 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. So the comparables in the neighborhood are there. So we're confident in moving forward. So it really just depends. But if it's me, I would start with a single family duplex, triplex, or fourplex that's under the 2,500 square foot mark, just because you're going to be more entry. So if your homes in your area are 700K, build a $500,000 homes. If your homes are $1 million, build a $500,000 to $700,000 home. The reason is you don't want to be the highest price home, and you're not going to be the lowest price home because you can't compete with the national builders. They're building way cheaper than all of us. So you want to kind of be that middle point where you can provide a home to someone that wants something a little bit nicer than entry, but can't necessarily afford the highest price home.
Gotcha. I love it, man. I love the breakdown.
Appreciate it.
Sounds easy, like you said, or it is easy, but it's a lot of work. And I don't know, man. Look, it seems pretty cool, like doing the whole thing from beginning to end.
For
And
sure.
you're just a middle person too, which is even like out my brain there. Um,
But you have to understand, like, if I'm the middle, I'm the coordinator, right? I always say I'm the adult babysitter. A GC, what's their skill set? I know how to build a house. That's all that they do. A real estate agent, what's their skill set? I know how to fill out a contract. Most real estate agents don't know how to find a deal. You ask them, hey, can you find me this specific deal? Well, let me put it into the search filter. Whenever it pops up, then I'll send it to you. That's not the way it works. A really good real estate agent will bring the deal to you, which most can't. So that means there's that other person, which is called a wholesaler. The wholesaler is the one that brings the deals. So really what you are, me, for example, the developer is, I'm a wholesaler. I know how to find my own deals. I'm a master at putting plans and permitting together. So I'm almost like an architect, but I'm hiring the architect, right? I'm not the architect, but I understand it well enough to where I can tell them what to do. Then I'm almost like a loan officer because I can assemble the financing, but my loan officer is the one that puts the deal together. I generally understand construction, but my contractor is the one executing. So all you have to do is you just have to understand generally each section, and you're just putting all the people together and you're letting them flow. That's really what it is. That's why I say it's simple, not easy. It is simple because you have the team, you have the people assembled, and they're literally moving along and building this beautiful building. And I'm like, I don't have to pick up a hammer. I had a joke. I did a reel. I said, I come with my cup of coffee and my phone. But the contractor doesn't know how to raise the capital or put the loan together. The wholesaler has no clue how to put plans together, right? So everyone doesn't, they have their own lane that they run in. You're not running a lane. You're just understanding the operation. You're a manager.
Pretty much, man. I think that's pretty cool to do it that way anyway.
Yeah.
Like, how big is your team right now? Because you guys are scaling nationwide, you said. Like, damn, like, what's that looking like?
Yeah. So you have to understand, I don't need the team internally, which we do have a good sized team. I think we're at 20, roughly. But the builder in North Carolina does not get paid for my payroll. If I get a lot in North Carolina, I put the plans together. I have the architect there and I say, hey, builder, can you build this out for me? Yeah, sure. I'll charge you X amount of dollars. Great. Sign the contract. He has his team of 10. So if you put a spider web of everybody working, sure, it's a team of hundreds. But my team doesn't need to have the building staff. My team doesn't need to have the architectural staff in different states. Again, I just have to understand the process of who's involved, and I coordinate with all these companies. So it's a lot of business to business relationship. That's really what it is. This whole game is just business to business. I work with an agent, I work with a wholesaler, I work with the loan officer, I work with a builder. That's pretty much it.
Cool. And I mean, for your students, I don't know if you can talk about that, but how much can they make a year if they're really focused, listen to everything you say from A to Z? Like, how much can they make profit doing what you're doing, man, and
Yeah,
teaching?
it depends on the goals. So, for example, I'll give you on the wholesale, I call it deal finding. The reason I call it deal finding instead of wholesale is because you could be finding deals for yourself. You could be finding deals for other real estate investors. You could be finding deals for builders or flippers. So I consider it deal finding. Wholesaling, it's kind of like you take any contract, try to make it work. No, I want you to find deals specifically for these people. So on the wholesale side, I'll give you an example. Isabella started just about 2.5 months ago, and she's already closed 3 contracts for 45K total. And I'll do a partnership. If somebody can't move a deal, they can send it to me. I have buyers across the nation. And then I was able to help her push another contract for 12. So that right there shows it depends on the person and their mindset and if they're ready to take action. But this information can change someone's life. And I think you can do 6 figures, 7 figures. I would say you've got to start with the 6-figure. Like I have somebody door knocking. It's crazy. They door knock on the East Coast and they're doing over 700 grand door knocking because
Oh,
they
wow.
understand the numbers. They understand what they need to get it for, and they have the buyer lined up. So if a house is worth 300 in the as is condition and they lock it up for 2, they call the guy, say, hey, I have it for 3. It's a great deal. It's worth 500. Boom, signed it. There's a 100K spread. So it's pretty mind
Jeez.
blowing. If you have the right knowledge, if you understand development, building, all of this, you can scale that wholesale or deal finding to a bigger level. So that's a deal finding. That's what I'm doing. I have students doing it as well. Then you have the new construction game. So like Ricky, the first build, over 140 grand profit is what it's projected to be. So
Ooh.
again, one build could be, I did 50K on my first build. My goal is to all my students to make sure you can make that 100,000 on your first build. And it's absolutely possible. Obviously, if you're in an area where homes sell for 300 new construction, it might be a little bit slimmer. But in general, if the home's around 500K value, you should be able to walk away with about 6 figures. And so you start with 1, then you do 2, 3, and you can scale that up. Or my student in California is like, I want to be a GC. Well, you could charge 50 to 100 grand to build a home for somebody else. The whole point is all of these skills, I'm just teaching you how to be it's a high income earning skill where you're learning that there's 2, 3, 5 different avenues you can go to, but all over 6 figures.
Damn. Good
So
money
I
out
think
there.
that's a huge key. And at the end of the day, you know how it goes, but knowledge is knowledge. Until you take action, nothing changes in life.
That's crazy, man. I love it. I'm all hyped up just thinking about this stuff, man.
You're ready to get started. I
I
like
know,
it.
right? Let's get started. Well,
I love
seriously,
it.
like I think it's a good way, I think, for people to learn a high incoming skill, right? I think if you work hard at it, man, you can make money. I mean, damn, congrats to all your students, man, and more to come because this
Yeah.
guy does mentorship and coaching. Arthur's is killing it. I was looking at his social media page, guys, which I'll let him talk about that a little bit later. This man has 14 million on one post. 14
Oh
million.
yeah.
This man went viral like 15 million times. Like this one was about a lot you bought for 406,000.
Yeah, it was a multifamily. It was on the market. So that's one of those that was listed on the MLS or the market.
Mm-hmm.
It looked really small, but again, step two, when you know your numbers and can run it, I said, okay, half acre, 30 units per acre. That means 30 divided by 2 is 15. I could build 15 units on here. If I can somehow fit 15, we're good. And what happened is the architect's like, well, I can see that you can fit 12. And I'm like, no, you can fit 15. I found another apartment that was similar dimensions. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this one's 15. So I started looking into it, floor plan, and I ended up sketching my own idea. And then the architect's like, oh, yeah, you can fit 15. So the
Oh
three
wow.
extra units was what took that deal from a pretty good deal to a great deal. And I think that, again, as a developer or middleman, you will learn all these things and it naturally happens. That's why if you start with one single family home, we haven't even talked about the personal house game, where if you build a personal house, you can put
Mm-hmm.
down 5 to 7%. So, like on a $500,000 home,
Mm.
you can build a house. They will give you a loan for the land and for the construction. The total cost times 5% plus 2 or 3% closing costs, you're around 35K down. And so a lot of people don't know that. They think you
Hmm.
need to buy the land cash, then build it. So a lot of my students are like, this is life changing. This is already fun.
I mean, damn, that's a low down payment.
Yeah.
That down
So
payment. You,
it's the same as buying, the first time home program on the
yeah.
market. You can do the new construction. It's not a first time home, it's conventional, but because you have the equity, the bank's willing to allow you to put down 5%.
Damn.
Yeah, it's
My
pretty neat.
question. I had a question about that, Arthur. Maybe you thought about it. I don't know. Maybe your students and you got quite a bit of money now. You just coasting. You're killing it. You ever thought about like just since you know the ins and out between both sides to build your own home out like in Oregon or whatever? Like, damn, I want a custom house. Like, I know how to do all this crap now. Let me
Yeah, I mean, I
go
would
on.
have to either get my GC license or have a GC come in and I manage it.
Yeah.
I do know how to. So that apartment complex for fun, I was like, I'm going to build this thing with the GC or I'm going to manage it. So I started managing it. I got the excavator out. We did the dig out. I got the foundation guy out. We poured the foundation. I got the plumber out. And then I was like, why am I doing this? Like, there's no point. So I was like, I went back to the guy. I said, hey, can you put your PM back on this? I wanted to do it for fun, but there's literally no point because
Mm-hmm.
when you start building, you're kind of going back to that limiting thing of I'm scheduling these guys. I'm like doing all these little things when I think more
Mm-hmm.
macro and I'm like, I could put a PM there. I could, if I have a GC company, I'll put a project manager, let him run it. But what I want to do is what makes the most amount of money, which is finding deals, underwriting deals, and raising the capital for the deals. So those are the three things that truly are the bread. Everything else is just a process, right? That's why I always say the numbers are everything. If you can learn the art of a deal, meaning you can learn, hey, I see this property, I understand the value, I understand the cost, here's
Mm-hmm.
roughly what I would make. If you know that, you're done. Like it's game over because that means if you don't buy it, if it's a good deal, somebody else will buy it and pay you. You see my point?
Yeah.
And I've had that. I've had where I picked up a deal. It was a remodel plus a fourplex. I ran the numbers. I knew it was a good deal. And I didn't really want to do it. It was like too far. And it was too
Mm-hmm.
far for the builder. Just didn't work out. And so I pitched it to somebody for 100 grand more than I picked it up for. And we ended up settling at 86. So I got
Oh
an
wow.
$86,000 check in 30 days because I just knew what it looked like to run the numbers.
86. You heard that, guys? $86,000 check in 30 days. I'm liking that
So
number.
that's the experience side of things. I always say your first deal is 5 to 10K. I don't
It's
want
still
to. I'm not going to oversell and overpromise, but if you do it right, your first deal should be $5 to $10,000, and then incrementally it's going to go up from there because you're just going to learn from the experience that you're going through.
gotcha. And I think you probably already talked about this. Maybe I forgot. I'm just like overwhelmed with like this side of real estate I never actually heard of, like or like understand it. Like how fast can you make money though? Like you mentioned, for you it was 86 on average. For your first deal for students, 5 to 10. Is that within 30 days or 45 days or 60?
Yeah, if you're doing a
How's that?
wholesale deal, I always say if you can. do wholesaling or deal finding, but you can do it for builders and developers. You should have a bigger spread, a bigger margin. But very simple. I always say this. You have a property owner and you get in contact directly with them. You two agree to a price. To keep it really simple, you don't do this for every deal, but $100,000 for this property. You know the property is worth, as is in its current condition, $130,000. So you bring it to an investor, a flipper, and say, "Hey, I have this property for 140." You throw it up a little bit. They say, "Oh, I ran my numbers. It's not really worth 140, and I can't even pay 130, but I'll pay 120." Well, you're at 100. You got 120. The middle number is 20,000. When 30 days later you're going to close at the title company, you're in the middle. There's obviously an assignment that you sign. There's a contract you sign in between these two. But when the title company comes in, the buyer brings in that 120. The seller gets their 100, goes home happy. The 20 left goes into your bank. It's that simple. And so for us, our operation, we've done 1.1, as I mentioned earlier, in the last 18 months. We did it all from our laptop and cell phone here in the office with our team in 17 different states. So virtually. And our average fee now, it was like 22,000 or something. It's around 18,500 today, including that 86K deal we did. But for example, I closed just last week a 20K deal, a 22K deal, and a 9K deal. So there's 3 different deals. And then this next week, I'm on track to close a $29,500 deal, $29,500 deal. And that's virtually, that one is actually in Southeast. So this one's in Tennessee specifically, but we like the Carolinas, we like Florida, we like all those different states.
That's cool, Texas. Man. Dang.
I've done deals in Michigan.
It sounds like you're gonna do deals in all 50 states at this point, but yeah.
So 17, I think the rest of them are a little bit tough.
Tough?
What I mean by tough is they're not as friendly to the wholesale game, so I like to stick to the more friendly states. But still, I have a buddy that does 7 figures in California, just wholesaling. Yeah. So I don't think it's a matter of where can you make money. It's choose a place, go hard, you'll make some money.
Gotcha. I love it, man. I love it. Guys, you heard it first. The amazing Arthur here. We talked before the podcast, man. You're married, have a lovely wife. You have 2 kids, a son and a daughter. Your son's 2.5. Your daughter is how old? How many months?
3 months.
3 months old. Look, Arthur, you're a prime example of an entrepreneur pivoting, flipping cars, being a real estate developer, doing great things and helping out students make money. Do all this stuff, man. You got 2 wonderful kids. I'm not sure if you guys want more, but what do you want to teach your kids, man, your son and your daughter? And what do you want to instill in them so that when they grow up, they can learn from you and pass on to their kids and so forth?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've seen some of these very wealthy billionaires, multimillionaires say, I'm going to give all my money to a foundation. I'm not going to give it to my kids. Yeah. I find that really interesting because the foundation is run by somebody else's kids. Yeah. Right? So this world is run by people. Your connection and relationship to people is everything. So for me and my family and my kids, first of all, I'd love to have 4 kids. My wife also same thing. We'd love to have a family of 4 plus us. And if we could have more, I'm totally fine with more. I always say it's up to my wife because she got the hard part of giving birth to the kids. But legacy and everything else. I think that if you can teach your kids properly what financial literacy, how to really understand the game of money, how money works, how all the different principles of if you give, you will always have, to always be generous, things like that, and understanding how to steward whatever you have in front of you, whether it's a small amount of money or a large amount of money, and continually grow it. If you can teach your kids that and show them that, which starts with you living that life, right? You living that proper life, but teaching them that as well, they will be able to take what you've created and multiply it times 5, 10, 15, 20. And together with your family, with your kids, you can create a legacy because then they can impact a ton of people. And I think that's absolutely key and vital. I do give to nonprofits. I do give to different foundations. But again, the passing on what I've done in my life, what my dad did in his life with the auto industry, then I
Mhm.
took and did in the real estate space. And maybe
Mhm.
they will do real estate and tech. I don't know. But the point is, the mindset my dad taught me of get into the real estate game, get into the real estate game. I want to teach them the mindset of how can you impact as many people as possible. And at the same time, the money will always follow.
Yeah.
Like Jeff Bezos and Amazon, he impacted everybody. Everybody.
Yeah.
He changed the way you do online shopping. He changed the speed. I remember ordering on eBay, it's like 7 day shipping, pay
Yep.
$50 for 2 day air. And I'm like, $50 for a $20 product. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And he totally just disrupted that industry. I think if
Mhm.
we understand and teach our kids where you could disrupt an industry, you could change people's lives. And not only that, you can do a lot of good with the money side of things and financials. That's the true definition of wealth. Wealth is an
Mhm.
abundance of resources, not money. Because somebody that has money is rich. Somebody that has abundance of resources has wealth. That's the
Mhm.
key. So I think that's something everybody has to remember. And for my kids, I want to teach them that. And, the book of Proverbs is the perfect book to teach them principles because all the principles in there, whether somebody believes in God or doesn't, the
Yep.
world even uses the principles. That's how powerful they are.
Cool, man. I love you brought up Proverbs. We're Christians. Do you have like a favorite verse that sticks by you? And
Proverbs 10:22, the blessing of the Lord brings wealth without trouble for it. So
mm,
that's to me again. I think that's correct because I have two verses, and then money gained quickly withers quickly, but wealth gained little by little will last more than a lifetime. So there's two verses. I may have mixed them up, but those are my two favorite because one, when you do things the right way, I think you have favor and blessing from God
mm,
and from other people. Why? Because they see you do it right. They see that you're honest, you're transparent, and you have lifelong business. Two, if you're trying to make money quick, it's going to disappear quick because you're going
mm,
to take too much risk, you're going to over leverage, and it's all going to disappear. If you do it slowly, build a house, build two, build three, build a network of buyers. If you're going to be in the real estate game, you're finding them these deals. That is what's going to expand and grow your net worth over time and where you can really be stabilized. So I think that slow and steady truly is the game. Even though we went a little bit crazy and we built 250 houses, now we've learned so many lessons. Like just off one deal, I had to write a $85,000 check to extend the loan. Like I'm talking money disappeared from the deal.
oh
So
wow.
I had to
Oof.
learn some pretty heavy lessons
Mm-hmm.
where now we're like, okay, we have a 30 lot subdivision here. It's going to be one community. We're going to build it out. We have another 27 lot subdivision, another 22 lot. So we have about 100 active, but we're very precise with how we're doing the 100 doors when
Mm-hmm.
before we were scattered everywhere. And so it's just a lesson we learned. And that's the thing is you can't beat wisdom, which is learning from other people.
Mm-hmm. I love it, man. I
All right, that
love it.
was a whole tangent. That was real long.
It's all good, man. I'm learning, and we're all learning from who Arthur is and the whole in between, man. I love it. I love it.
Appreciate it.
What's your plans for the rest of the year, Arthur? I mean, you're building homes, left and right, but do you have goals? Any, numbers? Any
So
in
one of
particular?
my goals, and I don't know if all 50 is possible, but I would love to have a successful student in all 50 states where my goal with the coaching side of things is to teach someone how to do it. Teach them how to fish. Don't fish for them. Once they start fishing, partner with them and start building in those areas. So I personally have been really heavy on the West Coast and I want to feel out these other markets. And there's no better way than teaching someone how to fish, knowing they have your DNA, and then partnering with them and doing deals together. So, like St. John's,
Mm-hmm.
Indiana, my goal is to pick up a development and do 10, 15, 20 lots. And I know Ricky is going to crush it and build them out there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of my goals. I can't say all 50 because I'm just not there yet, but there's already several states where we're doing it and we're really excited. And so if we can get into the markets that we want to be in, that would be the most exciting.
I like that approach, man. Everybody wins, and you get to
Yeah,
teach.
that's right. And then
Arthur,
two, I mean, shoot, what else? Spend as much intentional time with my kids because
100%.
my son is 2. And I literally was just joking with him the other day and doing this, right? Just cradling him.
Yeah.
And I look and his head is hanging off and his feet are hanging off. When he was just born, I could literally hold him right in between my one arm. I could just literally hold him like this. And so for me
Mm-hmm.
to know he's not double the length, but triple the length
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like, it just gives you that moment where you just step back and go, man, time is so precious. Relationships are everything in business,
Mm-hmm.
in family, and everything that you do. And just spending that time because it'll disappear. And so I booked a trip to Hawaii after that. I was like, I gotta go on vacation, take this
Oh
guy to
man.
the beach. I have not been for like 6 months because I was really heavy at the end of the year, or quarter three, and then my wife gave birth, so we didn't
Mm-hmm.
travel. And so now I'm like, it's time to go be at the beach, and it's pouring rain out here in the Pacific Northwest. This is the best time to leave.
Gotta go to paradise, bro. Gotta
There
go to
you go.
paradise. I love it.
And close
Hawaii.
deals while I'm there. That's the key.
I was just gonna say that you're gonna be in Hawaii, but bro, you're gonna be having a laptop, phone,
Right.
like you're still gonna be working and killing it.
Yeah, I'm
So,
gonna send all my letters for all the properties I want. I'm
hmm,
gonna start getting my phones blowing up right when I'm on the beach, and I'm just gonna negotiate.
that's how you do it, man. The pro in the house, the pro. I love what you
Appreciate
said though about kids spending time,
it. Yeah,
relationships, family, business or family. We just talked about that with my wife, man. Literally, our kids too, our son, and she was cradling him just like you said, the same exact words you just spit out. She said the same thing, and I'm like, damn, time goes by fast. We both
it really
agreed,
does.
and we just got to spend time with our kids, man, and enjoy every moment. So I totally
Yeah, my
agree.
dad always says, "I still feel 20 in my body, and I'm 55." And
Hey,
so that and the perspective, maybe this will give you a perspective as well. When you're 20 and you live 2 years, so you're 22, that was
mm-hmm.
10% of your past.
Yeah,
So it doesn't feel long. When you're
mm-hmm.
30, now it's an extra 30% longer. And or sorry, it's your life is 33% or 50% longer than 20. So that
Mm-hmm.
means now time is going even faster. When you hit
Mm-hmm.
40, time starts going even faster. The reason it goes faster is not because time is faster, it's perspective. You can remember back to 10, 15, 20 years old. And so your life is
Mm-hmm.
just going faster and faster as you're getting older. So like my dad was telling me when he's 55, he's like, 20 felt like yesterday, but that was 35
Yeah,
years ago.
long ago.
So the older you get, the faster things start to go. And I'm learning that because I'm almost hitting 30, and I'm like, dude, I feel like I was just 16 buying that Golf. I straight up remember on my phone plugging in the aux to my iPhone, whatever, 2GS, and putting the cassette player in because there was
Yeah.
no such thing as an aux wire.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember that like yesterday driving the manual Golf.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did hit somebody at that time,
Oh damn.
and it was funny. But I
Uh,
scuffed her bumper and I fixed it for her because I was fixing cars. It was really light, but I remember that like yesterday, and to me that was 12 years ago.
mm-hmm.
Crazy. So I think that's the big thing with life is today might feel long, or your issues or problems or your joy that you have today, but 10 years later that was such a small moment.
Yeah. I think that's the perfect way to put it. And I never thought of it that way till you actually explain it. And I kind of feel that way now, thinking about it. Like, damn,
Yeah.
you get older, you have a lot more to remember. So I love that approach too, man. Dang. Arthur just got wisdom and making monies left and right. Developer in the house, guys. You heard it
Yeah.
first. Arthur, what's the best place for people to reach out to you, man, to learn like your viral videos? Because you're teaching nonstop online, coaching and mentorship, everything, man, to learn more.
Yeah, I would say on my Instagram, Arthur the developer, you can hit the bio link, and then I have my free community. I think there's already 4,000 people in that. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a free community of different people in the real estate space or trying to get into the space, just talking back and forth. I have a deal here. I'm looking for this, and so I wanted to create a community of people. But also, you go down to the bottom. I have my email, phone number. It's my office line. So if anyone has any questions, I always love to say that I want to make sure we answer everything. So people can just reach out there, whether it's answering, how do you run your numbers, or, hey, I want to get into the mentorship or the education side. We're an open book, and it when you're managing all these different people, you don't actually spend a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about just checking in, right?
Right.
So I'm realizing that I have more time on my hands, and that's where people say, "Oh, how do you get through all your DMs?" Well, I get through all my DMs, so it's the way
I,
it goes.
I like that approach, man, because you're very genuine and you want to really help out people. So
Absolutely.
I like that approach, man. Really love it. Guys, I'll have the links below. I mean, literally check him out. He's viral all over the internet, killing it in the real estate development space, in my eyes. Arthur, one last question I'd like to ask all guests, man.
Let's do
What
it.
keeps you going when you want to give up?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'd probably say my family,
Mm,
because at the end of the day, as a this world, they might say male, female, all these, everyone argues, right? I think
yeah.
a guy and a girl have different skill sets,
Mm-hmm.
and one maybe is more dominant in something or over the other. In our
Mm-hmm.
family, my wife takes care of the kids, and I really take care of the home and provide
Mm-hmm.
finances to the kids and to the family. So for me, if I'm ever not feeling the best, I know my family is dependent on me, and that whatever I don't want to do, I go into the perspective of, I'm going to do this for my son. I'm going to do this for my wife. I'm going to do this for my daughter. And it makes it that much easier, even as simple as to make a phone call, right? Because I feel like there's that, what do you call it?
Mm-hmm.
Fear of phone, where
Yeah.
someone doesn't want to call a seller. Like,
Yeah.
that should get you over the edge, to make that phone call. If you're not married, for my future wife, my future husband, right? So I think that's it. Family really is the core in me, and I was raised that way to always love family, and so that keeps me going always.
Yeah, man, I love it. Family. That's what drives you. That's what drives me. And I love every bit of it, man. Guys, you heard it first. The great Arthur in the house, man. Thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story. If you guys
Absolutely.
have any questions, comments, or concerns for Arthur, I'll have the links below. Please check out his socials. Get mentorship if you can. This man could teach you and teach you make money and do something cool that not many people are doing. I really just
Yeah.
see him online on
Yeah.
social media. But yeah, until
Appreciate it,
next.
Derek.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. And until the next episode, peace out, everyone.
All right. Take care.